Beneath all post locations, install at least two 2-inch by 8-inch blocks, using at least 3 number 10 by 3.5-inch deck screws, penetrating through the joists at least 1.5 inches into the blocks. Screws are sold separately. Plumb and level the posts using leveling shims. Secure the posts in place with the appropriate fasteners, also sold separately. Remove stair cable guide assembly from packaging. Lay assembly on the ground near the post it will be inserted in. Unspool each loop of cable fully so they are free of kinks. Allow the cables to lay flat and straight on the ground. Identify stair cable guide A. This guide will be inserted first in the top stair post. Slide cable guide A assembly into the post. The bracket should be at the top and oriented downwards, and the bottom of the guide should bottom out on the post base. The cable will slide down the post through the open slot in the side of the post. Make sure the excess cable exits out of the top of the post. Guide B, to be used on bottom post, has a hole near the bottom. This is used in an upcoming step. While holding cable guide B, use a back and forth motion to stretch the cable and work guide B towards your lower post. Do this until the guide is past the lower post. Ensure an equal amount of excess cable remains on both guides. Be careful not to pull all the slack into one guide. If needed, you can redistribute the slack by loosening cables in the middle of the section and pulling excess in the direction needed. Insert cable guide B into the channel of the second post, ensuring that the excess cable feeds up and out of the top of the post. Ensure guide B is at the bottom of the post and insert bolt through pre-drilled hole in the lower stair post. Thread and tighten nut. Clamp top beam on the side of the stair posts, aligning it with the brackets. Mark the beam at the posts. Cut the top beam on that mark and on that angle. Please note, the top of the beam has the larger open channel. Be sure the beam is oriented the correct way before you clamp, mark, and cut. Place the cut beam between posts and press onto brackets. Use provided hex head screws and attach one screw at the end of the beam at each post. Use the line etched into the beam as a guide for your screw. Screws should be on the line and approximately 1/2 inch from the end of the beam. Feed cable through tension spring B and tensioner. Place tension spring B and tensioner into top beam at lower post. Please note, these are separate pieces. Feed cable through the block and spring first, then tensioner. Make sure the cable is rounding the last turn of the guide by looking down the post. Pull all slack through the tensioner. Also, ensure the tension spring stays in place in the beam at the post before pulling tight. Locate tension spring A and repeat this step at top of stairs. Pre-tension cable on guide A and B by pulling as much slack through the locker by hand. This step is crucial to attain proper finished tension. Wearing a glove may help while pre-tensioning. Ensure the cable is centered in the cable guide while pulling tight. Use an impact driver or power drill. Tighten the tensioners. Use a 9/16 socket or wrench to tighten the bolt at the end of the tensioner. Do this for both tensioners at each post until spring is no longer visible. Complete this step for all sections. Final tensioning. Push down on top row of cable firmly. The spring near cable guide A should be visible once again. Using your drill and 9/16 socket, tension the bolt until spring is no longer visible. Complete same procedure for cable guide B, but push on bottom row of cable to loosen the spring. Cut excess cable, leaving approximately 12 inches remaining from each guide. This excess will remain in the top beam channel. Measure the length of the top of the installed top beam. Subtract 1 1/4 inch and cut the top rail to this dimension. Notice that this cut is straight, not at an angle. Place the cut rail over the beam and snap into place using a rubber mallet if needed. The post at the top of your stairs will use the cap adapter that is included with your bottom stair post. Fasten it to the cap before pressing it into place. Place appropriate end, line, or corner post cap onto the top of each post and press or tap into place with a rubber mallet if needed. The mid-stair and bottom stair post cap include 2 screws. Press the cap into place and attach to post with these included screws. Install base trims on each post.